I also yesterday had the misfortune. I don't know, why do I do it to myself, Josh? I had the misfortune to watch Jack Tame's interview yesterday with Willie Jackson.
Oh,
For those of
God.
you who wouldn't have... See, yeah, there you go, see. I think I was waiting for the wife to get ready, Josh. Um, my my wife is one of those wives, Josh, who if you say, let's go for a drive or let's just go and get a cup of coffee somewhere, I'll just get dressed. And you'll say, you are dressed. And then I'm one of those males, those husbands, Josh, that for the next, I don't know, it ranges, Josh, from 15 to 50 minutes, sometimes to an hour 15, but it was close to the 50 minutes, takes time to get dressed when they are dressed, Josh. And then suddenly you get a bit of a shock. Where the hell did that person come from that suddenly alights from your front door and heads into the car with you? Because that is not the person that you saw go into the bathroom. You go, holy crap, I didn't mean, we're not going out for a ball or anything, are we? I just thought we were going out for a cup of coffee. Nope. Anyhow. So in the midst of that, I had time to kill yesterday, Josh, is the answer to that question. And as a result, switched on the telly. I was actually looking for rugby, but couldn't find any because there isn't any. Well, no, nothing that I'd already
Yeah,
seen.
they're not
The
covering
Blues
much anymore,
play.
are they?
Well, I'd seen the Blues play Waikato the night beforehand. That was a shock, in actual fact, particularly for a Waikato.
Well, those
supporter,
guys just
but
started covering some more schoolboy rugby again, I see.
well, yes, that's good too.
Finally.
Yes, that's nice to see. But anyhow, so I had time to watch Jack Tame interview Willie Jackson, and so I could kill 13 or 14 minutes of my time. Listen, if you wouldn't have watched it, but I did. But the interview was really about Jack Tame interviewing Willie Jackson on Labour's relationship with Te Pāti Māori. And Labour's relationship with Te Pāti Māori is slightly vexed at the moment. I'll come to that. But for the rest of the country, the Labour Party's relationship with Te Pāti Māori is a powerful disincentive to vote centre-left at the next election, which is now just 16 months away. And we've talked about that on the show on a number of occasions, that every time Te Pāti Māori do something stupid, which is sort of every passing day really, the chance of Labour leading a coalition government after the next election withers on the vine. And really that was the nature of the discussion that Jack Tame was having with Willie Jackson. And as befits Jack's name, or his surname, it was a relatively benign and friendly interview. Well, no, it was a tame interview. Tame by name, tame by nature. That's fine. That's the way things go. And Willie likes to talk anyhow, so off you go. Strap yourself down and enjoy Willie's sense of theatrics. But the really interesting thing about that is that Television New Zealand did something that I hadn't seen them do before, and dips to them, just quietly. And that was they decided to play the video or the social media posting of John Tamahiri's daughter, Raurio Waititi's wife, who had gone on to social media to declaim, as a consequence of last week's parliamentary debate over the suspension of Te Pāti Māori from the House, who had gone on social media to declaim not David Seymour and the ACT Party, not Christopher Luxon and the National Party, not Winston Peters, despite him getting stuck into the scribble of her husband. No, she really flew for Adrian Ruafi, the former Speaker of the House, Māori, obviously, MP as well, and Willie Jackson, who had, in their speeches in the House last week, suggested that it might be a good idea to apologise. And Willie Jackson doubled down on that yesterday in the interview with Jack Tame. He said, listen, again, he had this slightly schizophrenic, because it's Willie speaking, so of course it's a slightly schizophrenic outline of logic, but here we go. Willie, on the one hand, saying it was an incredible exhibition of our culture, and on the other hand, you should apologise for it. Although he did expand a bit yesterday in the interview on why, because he said this is a tikanga Pākehā environment. Now, isn't that interesting? Willie Jackson described Parliament last week and Parliament in general as a quote-unquote tikanga Pākehā environment. Despite he being part of the largest representative gathering of Māori members of Parliament in the history of New Zealand, in fact, they are disproportionately represented as an ethnicity into the New Zealand Parliament. Willie Jackson described our Parliament not as some sort of gathering of all cultures and ethnicities, but quote-unquote a tikanga Pākehā environment. But then, straight after that, the social media posting of Rawiri Waititi and John wife and John Tamahiri's daughter, Dr. Kiri Tamahiri Waititi, was played. Now, believe it or not, Dr. Kim Tahireri Waititi really is a doctor. No, she's not a medical doctor. She's not a doctor that makes you well. She's a doctor that makes you sick. She's a clinical psychologist doctor, and she's got a PhD in, well, I don't know. It could be clinical psychology. It could be Indigenous affairs. You're never sure. But people who use PhDs to call themselves doctors, iffy, I've just got to say. Iffy. Anyhow, and she got stuck into Rurafi and Uncle Willie Jackson in a, God, I'd hate to be married to that woman, just quietly. She's got a vicious mouth, and I'm not talking about the rhetoric that comes out of it. It's just the way it contorts and turns. You can just see a certain inner cruelty in that woman that was demonstrated perfectly in the social media posting. But anyhow, she had a go at Willie Jackson and Rurafi for Māori trying to get another Māori to apologise for just being Māori. What is that? Which was sort of a gross mischaracterisation of what they'd done last week. Then she said it's horizontal enforcement. Now, I've got no idea what horizontal enforcement is, but I thought horizontal enforcement was just another word for rape, just quietly. But if somebody can text me and tell me if I've missed something on the social media as to what horizontal enforcement is, you go. But anyhow, she complained that Rurafi and Jackson were involved in horizontal enforcement of Māori people, and then they were doing it for the sake of peace and peace of the rules and the rules that have been crafted by the colonisers. So it was a direct racist and diatribe that you associate, to be honest with you, and sadly, with Dr. Kiri Tamahiri Waititi, and then Willie Jackson was asked to respond to it. First of all, his response was to say that instead of condemning her for her rhetoric, oh, she's an inspiration for a lot of young people, said Willie Jackson yesterday. I love their passion. He didn't want a war with them, neither would I. I wouldn't want a war with her looking like that either, just quietly. And he then started to equate the whole issue as it's sort of a gross misunderstanding, basically. We respect what they do. Meaning Te Pāti Māori, have voted us 98, 99% of the time when it's come to Parliament. That's just that they never back off, never compromise. That's their shtick. We respect what they do. So in many ways, despite trying to draw some lines between Labour and Te Pāti Māori, he really just sort of hugged them closer. Anyhow, the point is, he then went on to say this, and Jack Tame said to him, well, once you become the government, will you go back to having race-based policies? And he said, no, Willie Jackson says, and this is where you need to be worried about the Labour Party, not Te Pāti Māori. We don't support race-based policies, says Willie Jackson, on national television, all right, to Jack Tame. It was based on need, not race, what we did. When Jack Tame shot back at him and said, well, what about the Māori Health Authority? Oh, it was based on need, not race, despite having the word Māori in front of it and being designed expressly and purposely only for Māori. And then Willie Jackson killed himself. I've never seen somebody do it so categorically. I mean, it was sort of like he decided to go and get Rawiri Waititi's noose, string it to the rafters of the TVNZ studio, put it around his neck while talking, and then jump, because it was that astonishing, his rhetoric. He then complained about the budget, Willie Jackson. He said they transferred $1 billion out of Māori. And then, very next line, we wanted targeted Maori spending at $1 billion per year. So in actual fact, far from saying this was need-based, Willie Jackson confirmed on national television yesterday that $1 billion was always designed for Maori, by Maori, only for Maori. It was deliberately race-based. And of course, he didn't try to explain why he certainly put all his own mates on the Television New Zealand board, the Radio New Zealand board, and any other board that he could have influenced at the last election, and they're still with us today. Now, the reason I said that is because it wasn't that Te Pāti Māori were the problem yesterday. The interview was, and remember, Willie Jackson is the Maori development spokesperson for the Labour Party, and he is also the person responsible for the strategy of regaining the Maori seats. Good luck on that one, I can say to him. But really, this argument that Maori deserve, need, require special favour isn't just Te Pāti Māori, and we all regard them as lunatic fringe. We always have, we always will, and they will demonstrate and illustrate that on a regular basis. So it's almost like we don't need to have that argument. That's who they are. They're mad. They're racist and mad, and they are going from racist to mad to bad. It's sort of a linear transition, really, and we know they'll finally get there. So we don't expect to take them too seriously, except that, oh my God, you're going to need the racist, mad and bad people to form a government coalition if Labour want to think about winning the election in 16 months' time. No. The people you need to worry about are Willie Jackson. They're the real worry. Because on the one, they can't get their story right. So no, it's not race-based, it's needs-based. No, it's not. There's Willie deliberately talking about $1 billion worth being taken out of the budget. I don't know where he got that sum from, but there it is, specifically targeted for Maori, and then saying immediately, we want $1 billion of spending from the New Zealand taxpayer deliberately spent upon Maori. It is a race-based system that Willie Jackson and the Labour Party will be running at the next system. They are intent, as much as Te Pāti Māori, in dividing us into Maori and non-Maori in this country, and they are just as intent upon making sure that it's not the basis of who needs the government's assistance, but what colour, ethnicity and culture you are that determines priority. Thanks, Willie. At least we now know that it's not just Te Pāti Māori, but it's mainstream Labour thinking that allows that kind of nonsense to occur as well. Those are my thoughts this morning. What are yours?